I think the Miami Dolphins here are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a good game. Also, battle the Alabama quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Tua. Tua took his spot in the national championship game. Tua did lose his spot one part of the SEC championship the year after. Jalen Hurts transfers to Oklahoma. The rest is history now. They're both in the NFL. But pretty cool to see two former teammates together playing. I know they're going to try and outdo each other. They are still friends. But I think too much Tyreek Hill, too much Jalen Waddle, and too much Raheem Mostert. All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Gemeinhart, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Welcome to All About the Balls podcast. I'm Mark Davis in the Sack House with the one and only Luke Rule, as we have no Chris Gemeinhart. We were expecting that this week. No Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. He unfortunately had something pop up last minute. The show must go on, though, Luke. The Ravens, we're about to break down week 7, about to preview this week, give our scores. Ravens, a big game, probably the second biggest game of the week, in my opinion, as they host the Detroit Lions. We're going to give that prediction soon. How are you feeling going into this week?
I'm feeling good. I mean, this will be the first true test for us. I think the Ravens are starting to put things together. As long as we stop beating ourselves, I think we're going to be looking like a good team. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. It's probably one of the better games this week. There's a couple good matchups, but I think the Ravens game has the potential to be game of the week, I think.
Yeah, I have that, and I have the Dolphins Eagles, of course, and then the Chargers Chiefs. I think those are the 3 games I've been on, and then Tampa Atlanta, just because it's just my team versus a rival. But as in what the country should be looking out for, those top 3 games right there they can go back and forth. So and I think it's the first time too.
The Ravens game is the only matchup with division leaders too. So 2 division leaders going head to head.
Eagles, Dolphins too.
Oh, true. Yeah,
because Bills got 2 losses now. So when they lost to the Jaguars, so I mean,
I think I saw that stat before that game happened.
Yeah, so it's going to be, I think, a good weekend of football. And I was just telling you before the show, I think it's the first time that just me and you in the Sack House. I've done a show with Chris, done a couple of them, done a couple with Doc. So time to, I guess, pop that one-on-one cherry between the two of us. But hey, let's dive into it. We have time then. There's 13 games this week. We have time to dive into maybe a couple of these big games that we mentioned, give it a little better intake. But before we do that, let's go back to the records last week. Myself and yourself went 8-7 straight up, which puts myself at 58-35 for the year. You're 63-30. For the spread, I was 7-8, which I'm 50-41-2. So there, you were 3-12 against the spread. Your worst week against the spread with points. So 52-40-1 on the year for yourself. Chris and Doc went 11-4 each. So Chris is 52-41, his best week of the year, and then Doc tied with me at 58-35, and then Chris 6-9 against the spread. He's trying to get up there. He's 39-52-2. He's under 500. Yeah, rough time for Chris. So don't listen to his points. Listen to maybe straight up. He's a little better at that. And then Doc 9-6 against the spread. He's 47-44-2. So it seems like myself, you, and Doc just kind of like battling out for those 2 different type of predictions. So still a lot of ball left. We're only in week 7, and we're almost halfway through, man. It seems like it's going by pretty fucking quick this year.
Yeah, this season is just flying by. Like crazy, we're already in week 7. Crazy, we're hitting bye weeks already. All the London games are done. Moving on to the Germany games in a couple of weeks. So this season's just flying by. Not excited for it to end. Been all off season talking about the big moves happening. Now you see it play out a little bit, and now it's just almost halfway over.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Like we wait so long for football. We get the draft, we get the combine, free agency. Like some good weeks,
like little bits and pieces, like here and there throughout the off season. Now you just get it all, and it just flies by.
Yeah. It goes because when you're having fun, time goes by quick. When you're having a bad time, like the off season, it goes by slow. Yeah. So hopefully it slows down. But hey, let's get into these picks. I think we have a decent Thursday night game this week for Amazon Prime. I think it's probably one of the better matchups on Amazon Prime this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars, red hot, 3-game winning streak heading into New Orleans as they face the Saints, who have been up and down the last few weeks. They did lose last week to the Texans by a touchdown. They are the 1-point favorites, though, at home. And the question is Trevor Lawrence going to play? I'm projecting that this game he is. He was limited in practice. He has a knee injury. I think that even if he does play with that knee injury, And if he is a little healthy still, they're going to control the game with Travis Etienne. He's been balling lately. He's been red hot. I expect it to be still a defensive game. Jacksonville's defense has been pretty solid as of late. The Saints defense is the Saints defense. We know how good they are. They'll have moments where they suck and struggle, but for the better part of the year, they're going to be a good defense led by Cameron Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, and Demario Davis. Yeah, Davis out there. So I think that this is going to be more of a defensive game, maybe with some splashes of offense from here and there. Maybe Trevor Lawrence will get Calvin Ridley the ball, Christian Kirk as well, Evan Ingram. He's got some talented guys outside, but I think the game is going to be led by Etienne. Let him control the game, keep the Saints off the field. Our offense hasn't looked that good anyways, unless you're the New England Patriots. But I have the Jaguars, winning 20-17. I think no matter who I'm going to ride high with it. If it's CJ Beathard out there, I'm going to go with Beathard. I think he's the backup. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence playing, though, 2017 over the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. I think Jacksonville is going to have Trevor Lawrence playing this game. They didn't seem like they were too concerned in it. In the injury report, he was limited at practice too. I think he plays. Maybe he's not as mobile as usual, but I think they're going to lean heavy on ETN like they have the past few weeks. ETN's been eaten. New Orleans defense, besides last week, they've been pretty good. CJ Stroud figured out a way to dot him up pretty much the entire game. Like CJ Stroud had an outstanding game besides his one interception. So I think Trevor Lawrence with their high-powered offense, they have so much talent on their offense that I think they're going to be able to overpower the New Orleans defense. And New Orleans on offense just can't get it going. Chris does his play calling, and Derek Carr doesn't look like he's all there. They have a lot of talent, but they just can't put it together. So I'm going Jacksonville 24, New Orleans 17.
Yeah, and Doc's with us too. He's got 21-19 for the Jaguars, and Chris is lone on his team. He's going 23-20. Maybe he's anticipating Trevor Lawrence not being there. I would love to hear his take because it's his team. I like to hear what we all have to say about our teams because, we think a little differently because we watch our games, obviously. We're not – It's hard when you're watching Red Zone and, you'll see bits and pieces unless you're going back and watching the highlights. When you watch a whole game, you see a little more. But I think Jacksonville is the better team if Lawrence is out there and Etienne's balling. So I think just keep feeding him the rock is what you got to do.
Yeah, I like it. It's good for my fantasy team too. Etienne's he's just saving me week in and week out now. I lost JJ. So send it 6-0 with Ryan Etienne.
You got a big week against Chris. He's 5-1. So right now, if the playoffs ended, you guys would be the top 2 seeds. So does he take that spot? And if he does, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he beat Jake, but depending on what Jake does, it could be a 3-way tie. And if Chris has beat both of you, he would be the 1 seed through 7 weeks. So big week for you and Chris in the redraft league. But
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm not projected too high this week so far. So
yeah, but you never know though. You never.
Yeah, a lot of buys this week, so a lot of injuries. So hopefully CMC doesn't play this week. They can sit him, and I'll have a good chance.
Oh yeah, Chris does have CMC. I forgot about that. Yeah, CMC, and that's a tough question for him, which we'll talk probably on Monday night. But do you start him or do you sit him because it's a Monday night game? Is it worth the risk? We'll talk about that. It's the last game of the week, so we'll definitely mention that in a little bit. But let's move on to a game I had my eyes on. The Atlanta Falcons coming off that ugly loss led by Desmond Ridder, I thought was the main reason we lost. We're 2.5-point favorites on the road to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost at home last week to the Detroit Lions. Yeah, they're only 2.5
favorites.
No, they are 2. I'm sorry, we are 2.5-point underdogs. I'm sorry, Bucs are 2.5-point favorites. No,
it makes sense.
It's a close spread. And it's early in the season, but the winner of this will be in first place. Tampa's already there, but because of bye weeks, we'll have more wins. They'll be at 3-3. We'll be at 4-3, just because of that. We'll half a game up. Saints can have a chance to still tie it. Just what happens with Tampa Bay and us. But yeah, this was a game, Luke, I was going back and forth on. I didn't know what to do. I know that you're going Tampa Bay, and I know these two guys. And the last time the last time I was alone on the Falcons, we won. I know it's on the road, so we have to get that one back because Ridder lost at home. So we'll reverse the psychology a little bit. I'm going to go Atlanta here. I think both teams are going to play more pissed off because of the way their offense is shit the bed, and that's the problem. I think this is going to be a game that we get the run game back going. That's the problem. Bijan and Algier have been kind of shut down the last couple weeks. I think Ridder comes out with a little more confidence again. I think he limits the mistakes. I think Arthur Smith is going to hone on that a lot this week in practice as we're going to Tampa Bay. I don't think the Bucs defend the Bay, though. I think this is a battle of two very good defenses. We are literally tops, like in yards. We are number 4, and Tampa Bay is just outside the top 10. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a defensive battle, but I think the offenses will make some splash plays, a little more than the Jaguars Saints game. So I'm going to go the Atlanta Falcons here, 24-20 in a close game. Atlanta gets a 4-3 on the year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game, but both teams coming off home losses, so it's tough. I mean, both teams are going to come out angry. Plus, divisional matchup. You know how this division is; they always play each other pretty tough, pretty close. I think I have a little more trust in Baker than I do Ritter at this point. Yeah, Tampa Bay's offense hasn't really gotten it going, but their only 2 losses are against the 2 of the top teams in the NFC. So I think they bounce back against the Falcons and they'll end up pulling off the win. I think they're going to go 27-24 Tampa Bay.
And
A little more points than you.
My eyes are on Baker just because against good defenses, he struggled. So Atlanta, it's hard. It's so weird to say that Atlanta has a good defense. Like, I don't think I've said that in a very long. I know we had a good defense the year after the Super Bowl year in 2017 when we made the playoffs still, but we were top 10 that year. It's so odd to see the Atlanta Falcons playing defense. So,
ride Baker until he gets 9 wins.
Yeah, keep riding them, but I'm alone. Chris has got the Bucs 21-17, and Doc has the Bucs 28-21. So we all have this game within one score. Yeah, it's a one-score game in our eyes. Yeah, and Tampa, we did beat Tampa, and I think we beat him in Atlanta last year because that was Brady. He only played like a handful of drives, technically got the loss, which was his only loss to the Falcons just because he started the game and he benched himself because they had nothing to play for. But yeah, let's see if we can beat Tampa Bay two times.
I don't know why Brady even started that game at all.
I think it was just to keep the rust off, just to make sure he still has a little bit of game time. I think he only played like a quarter and a half or something like that at the most.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird move by him. I mean, I don't think Brady really needs to get the rust off of him. I mean, he's fucking played forever.
And I'll count it too. That's his only loss, and he didn't have to finish the game. So I'll take that. We're one of the only teams. There's only a handful of teams that didn't beat Brady. Technically, the Falcons, we beat them. So I'm gonna ride with it, even though it's not a true win in my book. But let's move on to a team we don't know who's going to be the quarterback because we don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. But the Cleveland Browns will either be led by P.J. Walker or Deshaun Watson. They are 2-point favorites on the road to the Indianapolis Colts, who Anthony Richardson came out. He's going to be having surgery, I think, next week. So it looks like he's going to be out for the year. So it looks like it's the Gardner Minshew show. Hey, he's going to try out for a team, essentially. Like, he's going to try and put his name out there maybe for a team, kind of like what Geno Smith did with the Seahawks. But I think this defense for the Cleveland Browns looked too good. We saw what they did to the Niners. I like the Colts. I like what they're doing. I wish AR would have been there. I was loving watching Richardson play, but I don't think with Minshew here it's going to be a win for the Colts. I do think it's going to be close, though, more than one score. But Myles Garrett, you have Zadarius Smith, you have Denzel Ward. Their linebacker core is good. Like I said, this is one of the best defenses in football. I have the Browns 24-17. Doesn't matter who the QB is for me.
For me, I think it does matter who the QB is for me. I mean, Deshaun Watson's playing. It's easily I'm going to pick the Browns, but Deshaun Watson's out. I'm probably going to go Indy just because I don't think Gardner Minshew's going to play as bad as he did last week against this defense. I mean, this defense is probably the top defense in the NFL, but I think PJ Walker's going to have a little bit worse game. I think the Colts defense is pretty solid too. I think Colts are all around a pretty good team. Gardner Minshew, I think, is a little bit better at passing the ball than AR was. He just doesn't have that run threat as much. But I mean, I would assume Deshaun Watson's going to play this game. I would assume that last week, and I would have been wrong. So I'm going to go Cleveland with an asterisk that Deshaun Watson plays 24-17.
Yeah, you're getting that Doc treatment where you're going to get the asterisk, and if PJ Walker plays and wins, you're still going to take that win. Yeah. So
my pick'ems will be flopped. I will
flip
it.
Yes.
I will flip that pick. Like I flipped the field last week.
Me, you, and Doc have the Browns 24-17. Chris has the Browns 22-17. So we're all 22. Around the same boat here. Yeah, 22. Yeah, so I'm not sure maybe what happens there with the math.
Get a safety. Get a safety.
Get a safety. Yeah, you can get a safety. Maybe try and go for 2. You miss it. There's a couple different possibilities there. You could get it, but Moving on to a game where I think I know where we're all going to go. The Buffalo Bills, who are 8.5-point favorites, traveling to New England to face the Patriots. The Patriots have been dog shit all year, minus the one win that they got. I can't even tell you who they beat. Oh, they beat the Jets 15-10, so it wasn't even a good win. It was an ugly win, and they didn't getting blown out. They did play tough against the Raiders, but Jimmy G did get hurt. I think Josh Allen, he's had a pretty – he came out hot the second half against the Jaguars in London. He didn't have a phenomenal game. He kind of came back to in the fourth quarter against the Giants. I expect a big game from the Buffalo Bills here. Expect Stephon Diggs probably get 2 touchdowns. He hasn't had one. He didn't have one last week. So I'm going to go Buffalo Bills 27-17. I think New England keeps it a little close, but I have the Bills by 10.
I don't think New England's going to have it that close. I think the Bills are still kind of like, I still think they're in like prove it mode a little bit, and like they're getting overshadowed by Miami, and that probably just bugs the shit out of fucking Josh Allen and the Bills. So like just to see what Miami's doing, having so much fun down there, while Buffalo is still like they're playing good football, but not like the level of Miami. So I think they're still on prove it mode that they can. I mean, they beat Miami, but I think it still sucks to kind of see Miami blow out every other team. So I think this is their chance to go put up a big lead on somebody. And I mean, embarrass New England like they have been the past few weeks. So I'm going to go Buffalo. I'm going to go Buffalo 28, New England 17.
Yeah, Doc has a big score for the Bills. He's got 34-17. Chris has 27-10. So we easily have the Bills covering the spread. I just think it's it's going to be a long year for New England. I don't like what they're doing, and I think Buffalo's coming out here, get that London rust off. They already got it off last week, and now they come out here, something to prove.
I think New England needs some fresh blood in there, picking new players, figure something out, because what they have right now is not working at all.
It's not, and we'll see what they do.
Fresh blood.
Long year for the New England Patriots. There was we posted the video, and I think it was one of the predictions. I had the Patriots at like I think 3 or 4 wins, and someone said, "Oh, they're easily going to have like 9-10 wins," and they were saying we were stupid.
I don't think so.
I hope whoever said that is still watching. I don't know who it was, but I hope they're watching now.
Hey, you got to go back and find that comment and reply to them. Like you still think this?
Well, I'm going to wait to the end of the season and see. Like, I don't want them to sneak off a few wins, but he did say above 500, and that's not happening. But NFC East battle, Luke. The Washington Commanders coming off that road victory against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, they won by 8 points.
Big win.
Yeah, it's a good win for them. They're traveling to the New York Giants. The Giants were there. I don't know who's playing, if Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones is playing.
I don't think it matters.
I do think, though, Tyrod Taylor should play. I do think he should start. I think he looks better than Daniel Jones. But the Commanders' front line is one of the best lines in football. They literally, coming into last week, they were the only D-line with everyone having 6 QB hits or whatever. Well, yes, QB hits on the year. So they're definitely one of the best lines in football. I think that it's going to be a close game. These NFC East battles, like most divisions, are pretty nasty, pretty gruesome. And I think that it's going to be a nasty battle. A little more field goals and touchdowns, but I have the Commanders 23-20. I expect Sam Howell to have a good game this game. He's kind of an up-and-down kind of guy. He didn't have a huge game last week. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns, but not a lot of yards. So I expect maybe like 300 yards.
I mean, Sam Howell's, I think he's exceeded pretty much all of our expectations coming out this season. I don't think any one of us thought he was going to play like this well. So, I mean, we saw in preseason kind of flashes that he was looking good, but now he's going against true number 1 defenses. All right, he's playing good ball. So I'm also going Washington. I think the scores will be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go. I'm going 24-10. Washington.
Well, defense eats, huh?
Yeah, they have a very good defense. Their defensive line is just going to eat whoever the quarterback is.
Their secondary.
Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod Taylor, former Raven. I mean, he got a little bit of playing time with them, but.
Their secondary is a little questionable. Their defense or the secondary is a little questionable in DC, but if that
quarterback for New England, for New York's questionable too. So.
Yes, or whoever the QB is. But hey, we're the only ones on the Commanders. Chris has the Giants 19-17, and Doc has the Giants 24-23. So
Chris has the Giants winning their division still. So
like you said with Baker, he's gonna keep picking them until they win, right?
Yeah, hammer home.
But no, I just don't expect the Giants to. I mean, I expect them to compete just because it's like I said, it's a rivalry game. But I think the Commanders are the better team. And like I said, Sam Howell's been a roller coaster. He didn't have a lot of yards last week. So I expect north of 300. Like, I think he gets close to that 300 threshold this week against the Giants.
Yeah.
And moving on to a game that I'm ready to talk about, and that is the Detroit Lions led by MCDC, better known as Motor City Dan Campbell, and the Detroit Lions traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens, who are 3-point favorites at home. This is one of the games of the week. It's definitely the game of the week for the 1 p.m. window. It's definitely the game of the week. And Luke, the last time you guys played, like you said, this was 2 years ago in Detroit. Yeah. Better weather, obviously, because of the dome. But Tucker hit a 66-yard field goal, hit the post, bounced up, and went over. Yeah. Fucking crazy kick. Yeah, no one knew what was happening. Like, the Lions didn't know if they should celebrate. The Ravens didn't know what to do. They were sitting there, like, waiting for the refs. But I think this game
stressful. That was a stressful game.
And that was against Jared Goff in his first year with the Lions, where, he just got traded from the Rams. They gave up on him. His confidence might have been down. But since the start of 2022, this has been a brand new Lions. Like Evan Fox, he says on the Pat McAfee show, the brand new Lions. And it's real. I think the Detroit Lions are arguably the best team in football. I know the Niners started off fucking 5-0, but guess what? They're 5-1, and they're one bad fourth quarter away from being 6-0 against the Seattle Seahawks. So think about that. They went into Arrowhead, they won. They went into Lambeau Field, they won. They went into Raymond James Stadium, they won, and now they're going to Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium, and I do think it's going to be a win. I think Lamar has a better game. For the Ravens, I think they do score not so many field goals this time. I think they put the ball in the end zone a little more. I still don't trust your running backs. I don't trust your receivers. So Lamar's going to have to put the team on his back. I think your defense is good. They're questionable with the Lions with the running game. It looks like no Montgomery. Jahmyr Gibbs is probably going to be out too, so it's going to be on Jared Goff's shoulders. But I expect the Lions to win here. Game-winning field goal, 27-24 for the brand new Lions.
Yeah, I am probably going to be the only one, I assume, in here riding with the Ravens. But yeah, I'm sticking strong with the Ravens. The Ravens are also, a couple of like bad plays away or a couple of no calls from the refs from being 6-0 as well. So like easily could be 6-0 team too. Offense. Ravens are just at this point just beating themselves in games. Penalties a huge issue. Especially on our defense, just like too many pass interference or personal fouls on defense. Ravens, a lot of holding calls, especially when Lamar starts to scramble. Lamar's ball control and needs to figure it out. But wide receivers look like they're back on track last week. No drops. So only one game we had drops. Other than that, no other drops in any other game. So I think the wide receivers are back on track. Fluke game. So I'm going to go. I think it's going to be a field goal game too. I'm going Ravens 24-21 at home.
And I would not be surprised if the Ravens win either. Like I said, this is a coin flip game to me. I think it goes either way, and I don't think you'd be shocked if the Lions win either. It's just two good teams playing each other.
I would be very upset. So
you'll be upset, but you won't be shocked. Yeah.
You kind of seen it with like these teams that like I saw something today about like these teams that like each week the most hyped team comes out and loses the next week. So right now the Detroit Lions are that most hyped team. So hopefully they don't read into it too much. Like it happened with the Ravens, like going into the Steelers week. That happened with the 49ers last week. These teams that are super hyped up, like, hey, nobody can beat them. Like they end up losing the next week. So hopefully they don't read too much into it. It's a noon kickoff, 1 o'clock kickoff at Baltimore. So Baltimore plays pretty good at home.
It's going to be, like usually. I said, Detroit's played good on the road this year too. The only loss is at home. They went into some pretty tough stadiums. I know the Packers aren't good, but it's Lambeau Field Thursday night. They went opening night against the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, and last week against the Bucs in Tampa Bay. So they've already had some good road games. But Chris has the same score as you, 24-21, but the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. And I figure both you guys are all going Lions.
Doc has the Baltimore Ravens, 24-19.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He texted me his picks right here. Let me just double check before I move on from this game. Yeah, he says BAL 24-19.
The biggest Lamar hater in here, picking Lamar to win.
I think it's because it's a home game. If it was in Ford Field, I think he flips it. I think he's riding with the home team on whoever the home team was. But
yeah, home field advantage does matter a little bit.
It does. It does, but
it helps.
Like I said, I'm excited for the Lions. I know you are too. Like they're playing your team, but this is something we've been waiting for a long time. The Detroit Lions actually making some
Yeah, I mean
noise.
they look good. I mean, I am a also. I mean, on the NFC side, they're probably one of my favorite teams on the NFC side. It's fun to watch MCDC get the boys fired up. I mean, he just looks like a coach that all the players love. Like that whole team's buying in on it, and like
Oh
they're
yeah,
able to like keep rolling. So I love seeing that. I love seeing them on Hard Knocks.
and
Last season,
the Dolphins had opportunity to get him many years ago when he was the interim coach, and he had a pretty good record, and they moved on. They said no, we're not going to hire you as the permanent head coach. And
yeah,
now look at him,
players
years
coach.
later with the Lions. So
Like to
he's a
see it.
player's
I mean,
coach. I love it. But
he fits that city, like that personality of the city too. It's cool to see.
yeah, like good seeing Ford Field packed. Like sold out for the whole season. So it's good to see. First time
Like
in
the
the stadium's
diehard
history.
Lions fans can support their team out loud again.
Yeah, they're back wearing that blue and then like that little dark gray or whatever. But
Yeah.
moving on to this is going to be an ugly game. We thought we'd see Jimmy G versus Justin Fields, but no, we're going to see either O'Connell or Brian Hoyer lead the Las Vegas Raiders into Chicago to face, I think his name is Tyler Baggett, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's the dude who played last week.
It's Tyler, right? I think that's his name.
I know it's Baguette.
It is.
I mean, this game.
Tyson. I'm sorry, Tyson.
Tyson Baguette. Well, put some respect on him.
Yeah, hey, I had the TY right. I just didn't have the rest of the letters. But no, the Raiders are 3-point favorites at the Bears. I think that because I trust Hoyer and we've seen O'Connell a little more than we've seen Baggett, I'm going to go with the Raiders. I'm not going to say much about it because this is such an ugly game. I got Raiders 23-16. I do expect whoever the QB is to get Devontae Adams more involved. I think Jacoby might have a good game still too, but get Adams the ball. I think that Hoyer could protect him a lot better than Jimmy G because Jimmy G's got Adams get fucking creamed out there in the middle of the field. So I say Raiders 23-16. Hey, and they will be 4-3 on the season if they win.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm also going to ride the Raiders here, just because. Did they say Hoyer starting or is it going to be O'Connell?
They haven't officially announced it, but so O'Connell started last time that he didn't play, but Hoyer came in last week as the backup. So I'm not sure why Hoyer was the backup coming into the week last week.
Either way, more experience, more play time between both of those quarterbacks. So that's pretty much my main reason I'm going to pick the Raiders. And I think it means more to the Raiders than it does to the Bears at this point. I think Bears, they're in midseason form. They're going to start tanking. They want some of those top 5 picks in the draft. So I'm going to go Raiders 17-10. Low
scoring game. Yeah. Chris has 21-14 Raiders. Doc has 17-15 Raiders. So I think we are
his own team.
I have the highest scoring game. Doc wants that first pick, so I think he's willing to, sacrifice to the year essentially. And that's all the 1 p.m. games. Not that many. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1 p.m. games this week. So moving on to the 4 p.m. games. So more of the West Coast and Midwest a little bit, but the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a bye week. Before that, they had that fourth quarter comeback against the Ravens where they won 17-10. They are traveling to the Rams, who just blew out the Arizona Cardinals. No Kyron Williams, though. I hate to see. I have him in a couple of my leagues, especially the Dynasty League. So I'm a little upset, but they have to move on. It seems like they're going to be playing Zach Evans because Rivers, their backup's also hurt. The Rams are 3-3, Steelers 3-2. So it's a big game for both teams in the middle of the season. And I think, the freshness of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they might be getting Deontay Johnson back too. That's big. That takes some pressure off George Pickens, who has been playing pretty decent with Pickett as of late. Jalen Warren's doing decent, I guess you can say, but the defense looks a little better. And I think that TJ Watt, I'm sorry, let me say that again. TJ Watt, the younger Watt brother of JJ, is going to have a big game. Yeah, he's up there in sacks right now. I think he's tied for the league in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that, he's tied. I'm sorry. He's tied with Daniil Hunter from the Vikings, 8 sacks. He's only played 5 games, so that's pretty good. But I think that it's going to be a pretty good game. I think the Steelers, though, they are 3-point underdogs. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-20 on the road. And I expect this to be more of a home game for the Steelers because, like I said, the Rams fan base is in
the West Coast Steelers fan base is going to come out. I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers, they always travel well too. I mean, they're one of the they have a huge fan base, and Pittsburgh fans are just fucking crazy. I'd love to see Pittsburgh lose this game just because the division AFC North is it's tight. It's all within a game or a game and a half for everybody. But I'm going to ride with Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams on this game. Close game. I think Pittsburgh's offense is going to play a little bit better than they have. I think Matt Canada's getting a little nervous. A lot of fuck Canadas or fire Canadas
They were doing it at the
being chanted
Penguins
out.
game. Yeah, the Penguins game they were doing that.
The hockey games they were chanting fire Canada. So I'm going to go Los Angeles Rams 24-21. I think it's a good score for this game. I like Pickett somewhat. I don't like him because he plays for the Steelers, but I like to see him play well just because he's on my dynasty team and I could use my first win. But I got Stafford, more experienced quarterback. The wide receiver core looks good, and solid defense for the Rams.
Yeah, and Chris is with me 28-20, and Doc's with you 27-20. So we're split on the Rams and Steelers, and I think this is actually set to be a good game. I think it's going to be a pretty decent game. Maybe not like game of the week worthy, but competitive.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. Definitely something I have my eye on this weekend.
Yeah, and another division game, NFC West division showdown. The Arizona Cardinals traveling to Seattle to the 12th man to face the Seahawks, who are 8-point favorites, and they're coming off ugly loss at home on the road, 17-13 to the Bengals. The Cardinals, they've been somewhat competitive. They were competitive in the first half of the Rams game, and then the second half happened, and they got blown out. I think the Seahawks are going to come off a little pissed off, and it's that home crowd. I don't think they cover the spread, though. I think the Cardinals will play them tough. Arizona typically does play the Seahawks pretty decently tough in Seattle. I think maybe like a late score will help them not cover the spread for the Seahawks. So I'm going to go Seattle 27-20. I think a bounce-back game for Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, who seemed frustrated last week. I expect his defense to be a lot better, which they've been pretty good this whole year, honestly, besides the Lions game. But I have Seattle 27-20 over the Cardinals.
Yeah, for me, this game's not very exciting at all. I think the Seahawks have been somewhat of a disappointment for this season. Geno Smith just got paid, so he was supposed to be the guy quarterback for them. Their offensive line is just fucking terrible. They had every opportunity to win the game last week against the Bengals because the Bengals do not look that good still. Burrow's getting a little bit better, but the only thing they have on defense for the Bengals is their pass rush, and their pass rush just ate and won them the game pretty much for the Bengals because I don't think the Bengals offense is winning them games. Jamar Chase might be winning them games, but other than that, the offense is not.
Against the Cardinals, they did, but that's about it.
I think it's going to be a relatively close game. I think Arizona's they're playing hard as they can against every other team. Talent-wise, doesn't really compare. So I'm going to go Seattle 28-24.
Yes, Chris is on the Seahawks 31-21 and Doc's 24-20 on the Seahawks. So we have a clean sweep of the West Coast birds out. Well, actually, the battle of the birds too, battle of the Seahawks and the Cardinals. But I have Seattle, and then God, this game too, man. I didn't know what to pick here. It's a team that I hate at the moment because they fucked me in pick'ems, and I can't stand Jordan Love, and now any respect I had for him is out the window for right now for the time being. But the Green Bay Packers are coming off a bye week, and then the week before that, shit the bed on Monday night at the Raiders. Are 1-point favorites somehow at Mile High Stadium on the road as they face Russell Wilson in this disappointing Broncos. 1 week, the offense is good and the defense is shit. And then the next week, the defense is good and the offense is shit. So it's like, hey, can these two sides of the ball play good together? And there's been those reports that if they don't play good against the Packers this week and the Chiefs next week, that there's a fire sale potentially going to happen. So do we see it starting to unfold now? I do. I think we do. I think Green Bay comes in here, and somehow Jordan Love plays decent, and Aaron Jones should be back, so he should be out there with the team. I have the Packers 23-17. I think their defense is pretty good still. They keep the Broncos in check, and the Broncos defense plays somewhat decent enough to win the game, but I have Jordan Love leading this game 23-17. Not confidently, neither.
Yeah, this game is question marks pretty much all over the place. What is Jordan Love? Is he good? Is he bad? What is Denver? Offense good. Russ still got it. Russ can cook. Russ can't cook. Defense good. Defense bad. It's just these teams are just kind of all over the place. Denver hasn't looked good. Like hasn't looked like a complete team once this season. Green Bay has a couple times. They've had some games, so I think they're more of the complete team at this point. Like, I don't trust Denver at all. Like play calling shit, defense is shit. So I'm going to ride Green Bay. I think it means more to them. I think Denver, the team in Denver is just pretty deflated at this point. I mean, they're getting just fucking handed to them in the media too. Like Sean Payton talking a lot of shit to the media at the beginning of the season, and it's just clapped back on them. And it's just a complete unraveling of this team. And I don't know if they'll do a fire sale, but I would definitely expect some players to be leaving this team within the next couple of weeks before the trade deadline's over. So I'm going to go Green Bay. I'm going to go 28 24.
Oh, close game. Chris has got the Packers 21-17, and Doc is alone on the Denver Broncos 21-18. So he thinks that the Broncos get to 2 wins after this weekend. God, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know who to pick. Like I'm still pissed off 2 weeks later on the Green Bay Packers. Well, 2 weeks of NFL weeks later, but yeah, it's still fresh. But ugly game for sure. But hey, I think this is the game of the week for the 4:00 window. We had the Lions and the Ravens for the 1 p.m. game. We obviously know that the Dolphins Eagles will be the night game, but the last 4 p.m. window game, the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 5.5-point favorites at home. We know how Mahomes does against the AFC West. He owns pretty much everything about the AFC West. He has lost home games to them, undefeated on the road. But I still think that after seeing what I saw against the Cowboys, maybe Eckler bounces back. We saw what Keenan Allen can do, but they don't have a true number 2. Quentin Johnson hasn't been that guy yet. Palmer's he's a question mark at times. And the Chiefs have a pretty good defense. Surprisingly enough, they're up there towards the top of the teams with defenses. We saw what the Cowboys did. You control Austin Eckler, then they become one-dimensional, and now you focus on Herbert. So I think the Chiefs are going to do good. I think their defense will keep them in this game. I expect it's a home game, so maybe we'll see Taylor Swift, and that means Travis Kelce should go off. She's going on tour soon, so she's got to get to all these games as much as she can. And I think Kelce puts on another show. We've seen Rice, the rookie from Kansas City, get involved a lot more. We've seen Pacheco balling out. I think he's been having a good game. Chris Jones on the defense end's been good, and it's good to see Nick Bolton back, linebacker for the Chiefs. I love watching that guy play football. And I have the Kansas City Chiefs 24-21 over the rival Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, it's hard to think about. I have no to think about really the Chargers at all. Like their offense, they have big name QB up there, just got paid and still not getting things done. I mean, he looks decent. He looks good. He was under a lot of pressure against the Cowboys, but I think this game could be a shootout. The Chargers defense, so many names on it, but still just looks questionable. They give up the big plays. They're getting a lot of personal fouls and a lot of penalties, especially last week. A lot of penalties on both sides of the ball. I don't know if it's just the refs calling a lot more, like that crew, but I felt like every play there was a penalty on either one of the teams last week. But I think this game might be a shootout. I mean, Los Angeles definitely has the firepower on offense to score quick, score fast. If they can get Eckler going like usual, it's his first game back, so it might give him a little pass last week. Plus, there was no run game last week for the Chargers at all. I think Eckler gets going a little bit. It's going to be a shootout, but I think Kansas City ultimately pulls it out. I'm going to go 34-31. Close game in Kansas City.
God, Chris has 28-21 Chiefs. Doc 34-29 Chiefs. And I'm a little nervous. I think the Chiefs can bounce back. I really do. Yeah. And their defense has been better the last couple weeks too. So that could contain maybe Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
You mean the Chargers?
Yeah, Chargers defense has been pretty solid the last couple weeks that they
played. Yeah, you said the Chiefs. You said the Chiefs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chargers defense can control. Yeah, Chargers defense can control the.
Yeah, I could easily see the Chargers winning this game too. I mean, divisional game, you never know what's going to happen. Chargers offense is good. If their defense can contain Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, I mean, that they're set. The Kansas City offense is not that difficult to figure out. Patrick Mahomes is going to do Patrick Mahomes things and get the ball to Kelce somehow, and you just lock down Kelce, and the other receivers aren't super trustworthy for Mahomes. Like he's gonna throw it to him, but chance 50-50, they catch or drop it.
And I know Mahomes he's always done like the backyard kind of like style game where he says, "Hey, just go do whatever you fucking want to do." And this year it seems like he's gotten him some trouble this year. He's had some questionable games. I think he's doing
he's had some interceptions too.
He's doing a lot more of it because I think he doesn't trust his receivers as much as he did. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Juju Smith-Schuster, but Juju was a decent one last year for them in the role that they need him to be. He was reliable at times, and he made the right plays. Like he had some.
He'll catch the ball if it comes to him.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, Patrick Mahomes didn't have to do the crazy shit as much, and then it just seems like this year through 6 weeks he's had to do it way too much.
It's just always hard betting against Mahomes. Like, yes. Such an incredible talent, and like by far, like without a question, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. So it's tough to bet against him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Imagine if he was on one of these two teams, the Miami Dolphins, Sunday Night Football, traveling to Philadelphia Eagles, who are 2-point favorites. Dolphins were down 14-0 last week, and then they won 42-21. So they were never out of the game, even though we put the little eye emojis with the Panthers. But the Eagles are coming off that ugly loss where Jalen Hurts probably had one of his worst games of his career. I know Eagles fans have already been all over him. Us as non-fans of the Eagles have been all over him. Also, the Eagles put Quez Watkins on the IR, signed a fucking legend, in my opinion, Julio Jones. Not the same Julio Jones he was with the Atlanta Falcons so many
Julio
years.
Julio Jones coming off the couch.
He's come off the couch, ready to save Jalen Hurts. Also playing with A.J. Brown again. He played the 1 year in Tennessee with A.J. Brown. So they have a little bit of chemistry. I think he'll maybe not this week come in. Maybe he'll play a little bit, but starting next week he'll probably be the number 3 receiver. And I think Julio Jones in the flex, like I'm not saying he's going to fucking go out there and be Julio Jones that we knew him to be with Atlanta and Matt Ryan. But, as a number 3, I think Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are better duo than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So now you might have a little more opportunity. Maybe the quarterback's not better because it's Tom Brady, and this is Jalen Hurts. But that's down the road. But I think the Miami Dolphins here are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a good game. Also, battle the Alabama quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Tua. Tua took his spot in the national championship game. Tua did lose his spot one part of the SEC championship the year after. Jalen Hurts transfers to Oklahoma. The rest is history now. They're both in the NFL. But pretty cool to see two former teammates together playing. I know they're going to try and outdo each other. They are still friends. But I think too much Tyreek Hill, too much Jalen Waddle, and too much Raheem Mostert. The man's balling this year too. I do think that the defense will struggle on both sides. Like I said, it's going to be a shootout. I got the Dolphins 31-27. It's going to be interesting to see what Jalen Hurts does in his bounce-back game because it's Sunday Night Football, and if you struggle, the Boo Birds will be out in Philly. They don't give a shit who you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't mention it, but Philadelphia is wearing Kelly Greens this week, too, on Sunday Night Football.
Didn't know that.
I think I saw it today that they're wearing them. So, like, they'll be looking good out there. I mean, Miami's uniforms also look very good. So, very, very interesting matchup. I'd love to see Miami lose this one just to see another AFC team take another L, put everybody level playing field at two losses. But I think Miami's offense is going to overpower their Philadelphia defense by far. Tyreek's too fast. Jalen Waddle is also really fast. Tua's he's playing well, not making mistakes, throwing just whatever random play he thinks of at the line to Tyreek Hill. I mean, I guess he's calling plays now instead of Mike McDaniel. I think this game's going to be somewhat of a shootout, but I think the Miami offense, like the power of that offense, is going to outdo the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't think Jalen Hurts will be able to keep up, even with the new addition of Julio Jones off the couch. So I'm going to go Miami. I'm going to go 34-28 Miami.
And through 6 weeks, Luke, Tyreek Hill, 42 catches, almost 1,000 yards, 814 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 135.7 yards a game.
Yeah,
so he's definitely
monster.
balling. Hey, but A.J. Brown, 42 catches, 672 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown's not having a bad year neither, just not as many yards and touchdowns.
Philly's corners coming back this game, or no?
I'm expecting to be back because I don't think they played last week just because they thought they could beat the Jets. And they didn't lose the game because of defense. No Slay and Carter. That didn't lose them the game.
They will lose the game because of the defense with this one, especially those guys don't play.
Yeah, I mean it's a big week that you need your corners this week.
You can't put some unexperienced corner on Tyreek Hill. It's just not going to work. I mean, hard enough putting like an all-pro corner on Tyreek Hill and trying to cover him. No, nobody's locking him down one-on-one. He's just too fast for everybody. You have to double cover him. I mean, they teams got to start looking at what New England did against Miami because they're the only ones who've been able to figure it out so far this season.
And like Julio Jones, when he was in his prime, the field tilted towards him. You had three guys a lot of times hovering around him. You have to do that Tyreek Hill. Yeah, Julio is not Tyreek Hill speed, but
yeah,
that's what you have to do.
You have Julio. I think Julio's gonna be like that, almost a big wide receiver, tight end kind of role for Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
Eagles.
He's
gonna be that big. Yeah, he's gonna be that big target for them.
But I meant like prime Julio, like you have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You did prime Julio, you have to do that to Tyreek. You have to put the field has to like literally tilt his way, and you have to face Jalen Waddle, force Jalen Waddle to beat you.
Yeah, once you do that, then Jalen Waddle also a very good wide receiver, and I'd like to see a little more Waddle because I have him in dynasty, so I need him to heat up a little more and start waddling Philadelphia's end zone this week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week.
I think this is the game I'm most excited to see because I think this game's going to be a fucking shootout.
Did you see the post that Doug McNabb? He was like, he apparently stuck up for Jalen Hurts saying, oh, I know how you feel about like the whole receiver situation. AJ Brown said, dude, this is not the same situation that him and T.O. had, essentially, McNabb and T.O. And he was like, pretty much told him to like, shut the fuck up. He's like, like, a lot of Eagles fans do not like McNabb, like because shit he said after he got out. But he was coming out there like attacking AJ Brown, essentially saying, "Oh, I know how you feel as a quarterback." Yeah, I just now recently saw it, like this. I literally saw it today while I was like getting dinner ready. So, but Monday Night Football. Oh, I'm sorry. Chris has the Eagles 34-30, and Doc has the Eagles 38-35.
Damn.
So
we're split.
Once again, we are split once again. Two apiece on two different teams. So, but Monday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers are 7-point favorites at the moment. Yeah, 7. Oh, damn it. They are 7-point favorites on the road to the Minnesota Vikings. It's questionable if Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey are going to play. Trent Williams did come back last week, the left tackle for the Niners, so we expect him to probably be playing. But Deebo and Christian McCaffrey, it's questionable. If you have him as your fantasy running back and you don't get Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell or Eli Mitchell, whatever, you might want to sit him. Unless it's come out he's playing like on Friday or Saturday. He's playing, then yeah, playing. But if it's Sunday and your running backs are playing late or playing Sunday, you might want to sit him just because there's too much risk. And unless you're like fucking 5-1 or 6-0 and you can afford a loss, like yeah, whatever. But in a league where you're like maybe 3-3, you need to every win matters, right? So, but I don't care who's playing. I think that San Francisco comes back out strong. It's a Monday night game too, which means prime time Kirk Cousins. I know he has that bad rap. Usually the defense plays bad too, but I expect this defense to come out carrying this team, which they need to because of the injuries on the offense. I expect Nick Bosa to eat. I expect Fred Warner in the corner and the secondary to eat too. So I have the Niners 27-21. I think that the Vikings cover the spread just because Kirk Cousins is still good enough to do that. But I think too much defense in the second half of the game. I'm going to go Niners by 6.
Yeah, I feel bad for Kirk Cousins in this game because I think he's just going to get eaten alive. Like he gets eaten alive every week, and I mean he's still playing well. Like he's a very good quarterback, very like competent quarterback. He can do it all still. Big. He doesn't have a lot of support around him, especially losing JJ for this game too, which fucking hurts me. But I need a big game from Ayuk coming out. So hopefully Deebo CMC are sitting out so I get a little more involved this week. And he didn't have too much last week, but I think it doesn't matter who's playing for San Francisco. They're going to come out hungry after that embarrassing loss against the Browns and PJ Walker. So they come out hungry, primetime game. Brock Purdy's going to show that he can still play and put him back in his MVP candidacy. Get him back in the running for it because I think last week knocked him down quite a bit. So I think San Fran. I'm going to go 28. 28-24 because I still respect Kirk Cousins and they got some talent on the offense still. So,
and like a lot of people have said, as bad as Brock Purdy has played, and what I'm not saying he's a great quarterback, But what great quarterbacks and even good ones do, no matter how bad you play, you get the last chance to tie the game or win the game. Guess what? Purdy did drive them down the field, and they missed a 41-yard field goal.
Yeah, missed the game winner. So I mean, not his fault. Not entirely his fault. They lost the game. And he did enough to set up a game winner. So I mean, it looks good. That field goal is good. It's a different story about Brock Purdy. Like, okay, Brock Purdy's still a good quarterback.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, he
just a kick can change the outlook on how your team is.
And he's a rookie kicker too, so hopefully Jake Moody bounces back from that. You know, he had 2 missed field goals.
Kickers matter in the NFL. Kickers matter.
They do. Pat McAfee just shows it every single week on Saturday when he offers these college kids money. And, you know, shout out to that kid that made it. He got $30,000, but also took him 2 tries.
Two tries. Yeah, he missed the first one.
First one looked good though. It was a good kick, just a little left. Definitely the best kicker that they've had. Best kicker that they've had on that segment for sure.
Yeah, I like watching that on College Game Day. The little kicker spotlight, see if they can make it. Because Pat McAfee's always fired up about it.
Oh, well, he was against this last one because he said kicking is easy, or whatever. Yeah. So he got in his face and he's like, "Well, I'll give you no one because it was such a." And the fans were cheering for him, and pretty much it was Washington State.
He's gave him a couple kicks the last few weeks on Game Day too, and that was just the only one that was even relatively close.
Yeah. What was the one a couple weeks ago where the guy kicked like 4 yards, whatever. I kicked it far with my left foot.
Or where he pegged the dude in the face on the side.
Yeah. Chris has the Niners 25-19 and Doc has 31-27 Niners. So we're all in the Niners. Hey, there's some games here, some differences. I think some of these better games, it's a little tougher. Like I said, Chris is alone on the Saints. I'm alone on the Falcons. Doc's alone on he had the Ravens with you, but he joined Chris with the Giants. Yeah, there's some games on here where he's alone on it. So it's a big week. I think I'm excited for this football weekend. Week 7 already here, man.
Yeah, games are starting to matter now. Like a couple of early losses, like let those walk, and like games are starting to matter because these divisional races are getting tight.
And not even that,
every loss is going to hurt.
The wild card too. There's 13 3-win teams, so the wild card spots who don't make the win your division, that's going to be heating up too. So
I mean, this like mid-October, November, starting. Some of these teams got to start getting on a run, get hot before December, so they can get ahead of the curve and not try to be have to win out to make the playoffs.
Yeah, some like wild miracle stretch, whatever. Like we have to win 4 out of your last 5 to get in, or some shit like that. And then, like I said, big week for the.
Every game's going to matter now. Almost midway point of the season.
Chargers have a big week. They're 2-3, so like you don't want to lose the Chiefs, and they go to 6-1, and here you are 2-4.
Yeah, it almost puts you out of it, really.
Yeah,
because then you're hoping the Chiefs to lose games, and you have to win games. Like if you're betting on other teams to lose games, then it's a tough road. You want to be in control of your own destiny coming at this point of the season.
No, I'm excited. Big weekend of NFL, big weekend for fantasy football. I know we're going to give some starts and sits tomorrow with me, you, and Doc on the college episode. But no, man, great episode. Good luck to those Ravens, man. Like I said, tough week.
Appreciate it. Can't wait. I'm excited to see how they play against the red hot Detroit Lions. But good luck to the Falcons too. See if Ritter bounce back game for him or not.
It's a must win. I think it's a must win too. We need to get to 4-3 so we can knock the Bucs at 3-3. 3-4 is not necessarily a bad spot for our division, but you also don't want to lose too. So we are 1-0 in the division. We did beat Carolina, but that's Carolina. It was week 1. We are playing a much better team, so I'm a little nervous. Unfortunately, I have a fuck.
Tampa 1-0 division. I don't think, you guys haven't played too many divisional games yet. Yeah, I don't think.
No, we're 1. I think we've all just played each other. No, Saints are the only team that's played twice. They played the Panthers on Monday night, and then
Tampa.
Which was an ugly game, yeah. But I'm going to be streaming the last hour of the game from a fucking birthday party. My neighbors decided to have a birthday party from 12 to 2, which is the equivalent of 3 to 4 East Coast time. So
just show up late. You just got to show up late.
I hate it. Which was on a Saturday. I sacrificed college a little bit. Like I would rather miss Texas, Oklahoma than miss Tampa Bay and Atlanta, like any Atlanta game. Just it's NFL. Like much as I love Texas, I'd rather sacrifice my Saturdays for my daughter. But she does come first. Like you said, that's why you don't have children. Yeah. So you don't have to sacrifice that kind of stuff.
Nope, I can sit there and watch all the football I want.
Yeah, there's no doggy birthday parties that you got to go to. So
I mean, I could make some up, but I haven't. Yeah, I can just tell him whenever his birthday is. Just do it that way. He'll never know.
Yeah, he'll never understand the day. I mean, but Bell, we got invited, so we got to go, and it's only 2 hours, so I won't miss it, but I won't be watching Red Zone the last hour of the game, of the early game. The first.
Maybe they'll be up big enough it won't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be I'll be going into around the third quarter almost. Like halfway through the third quarter. Probably Atlanta fucking 24, Tampa Bay 10, and then we just gotta close out the game. So, but no, I'll be watching it. It'll just be more like casually on my phone, like not focus on my phone the whole time. But I'll be watching. I'll be listening to it at least.
Paying attention. I'll just give you text updates.
No, I'll be. Oh no, trust me, it's gonna be on my phone. But it's only 2 hours. It's a little like it's an indoor playground, so small on the base, so I'll have a chance to watch it. Like I said, I'll be on my phone. I just won't have Red Zone, so I'll miss the last hour. Which I'm a little upset that it's the Lions Ravens. I hope they would have fucking fluxed that one to the fucking 4 o'clock window like they did Tampa Bay, but they didn't. So, but hey, great episode, Luke. Tomorrow, college football. We're gonna get back in here and talk some college. Big weekend.
Big games this
Ohio
week.
State,
yeah, big
Ohio
games.
State, Penn State at Ohio State. I thought it was at Penn State for some reason, but no, it's at Ohio State. So
at the shoe.
It's the Michigan Penn State game that they didn't give, I think, a whiteout game for. So I think that's the game I was referring to, not the Ohio State game.
But college game day will be there, big game. So yeah,
I'm rooting for Penn State so hard. I'm rooting for Penn State. Don't want to see Ohio State win. As much as I had Ohio State in my playoffs, but I'm okay with taking them out.
Potential playoff matchup here. Like loser may not make it. Hard for them to get in.
Well, the loser also needs to make sure that the winner loses it probably, like, because if you have a three-way tie between Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, like how do you, if they all beat each other, it's a weird tiebreaker. So you just need the loser to win 2 games, and then you beat Michigan essentially, and then there you go. But yeah, no, great episode, Luke. Shout out to you, Doc. I know you're gonna be listening. Chris, you too. Well, can't wait to get you guys back in here. That's Luke Rule. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast, and we are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.